Started. Oh, I did the silent one. You're welcome. I didn't. Welcome to the live stream, guys. Welcome to the live stream. So we're live, yay! Uh, today I'm alone on the live stream, so you can see that we have a totally different setup. You can see the Wootabase in the background, which is the Wooting profile database we'll be talking about today. And I have the wonderful and in a very beautiful way people in the live stream chat on Discord, which is Cop Vampire Ed and not Daryl. Daryl.
Hey.
So we're, as always, going to do a small sound check for the live stream because I don't know if you guys can hear Ed and Daryl very clear. And myself, for that matter.
Oh, yeah.
Daryl, say something.
No.
That's not Daryl. Yeah, it's not.
It isn't.
So, the not Daryl in this channel, can you say something?
I can.
All right.
Yeah.
Daryl is not Daryl. That is the only rule.
I think Ed is very, very clear. I don't know who the person in the channel is not Daryl. This is getting confusing already. So I added a little block above my head here, where you can see who's talking. More people are welcome in the live stream channel in Discord to join the conversation. And that's what this live stream is also going to be. It's going to be an open conversation with any of you, and otherwise we'll have boring Daryl and super boring Ed in the conversation as well.
Thanks, Bay.
This is so cringy. Yes, it is. It is super cringy. So you're welcome to join the Discord chat, because otherwise I'm super alone. Because I have no Erik, maybe he's in the chat, and I have no Jeroen. If I can't hear Daryl, does that mean I can hear not Daryl?
What?
If there was only two types of Daryl in this world, a not Daryl and a Daryl, that would be correct.
Confused.
Okay. Okay, so let's start checking how everybody is in the chat since 2 weeks ago. So how is everybody? I'm not going to ask Ed or Daryl that are literally in the voice chat because we don't want to hear your life story, guys. If you have two Daryls, does that mean you have a barrel? Okay, now we're getting to cringe level and lame slowly with Daryl. I always confuse Daryl with Darren, by the way, which just mentioned here something. Yeah, Erik wasn't allowed to join the stream. Okay, Darren, yes. Oh, that is weird. On that picture, that is weird. Oh, I know what we're missing now, guys. We're missing some background music. So let's see if we can get some background music going. Do we have any recommendations? Do we want to have a bit more of jazz?
Oh, you enjoying?
Oh, hey, June.
Oh, June?
Oh, shut up. Okay.
I was having a conversation earlier with Ed, and he was mentioning a June. June? Yeah, I talked June. I was like, June? Who are you talking about, June?
June, yeah.
I'm being bullied.
Oh, no.
Hello.
I heard your cry for help, so...
So you joined?
Stand by.
Yeah, I already started very late.
Okay.
But that's okay.
So what's the talking topic?
So we're gonna talk about.
Oh, Eric's here. Hi, Erik.
Hey there.
Erik also joined. Oh my god! So asses. Okay. Okay, so now we have more people to talk and join the conversation. We have two topics. Well, we have one topic today. No, we have one big topic today, and that's the Wootabase that I have on the background. It's not the official announcement or something, but it is, I guess, a preview of what's to come.
Showcase.
A showcase, yeah. I don't know if we want to show the other thing that we've been talking about that we're going to do on Sunday, but I think that's a bit too early. But maybe people have feedback, since we can consider this like official but unofficially starting with things.
What are we going to do?
The community database or knowledge base.
This is a preview from...
We're going to do that on Sunday?
That was loud. Sorry?
We're going to do that on Sunday?
Yes, we're going to talk with Backstage on Sunday about it.
Oh, but we're not going to launch it, I assume, right?
No.
We can.
No, it's not for launching, not at all.
Okay. I guess we can.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, then we have two things for today.
Okay.
Then we have two things.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about something else first.
What's that?
What about the meetup?
The meetup. What happens at the meetup stays at the meetup, Jeroen.
It's one of those meetups, huh?
Yeah. We don't want to make people jealous, of course.
No, and you know what Arnhem is known for, right? Arnhem is also known as. No, I don't know.
Something coming in the sense of the second red light district or something.
Hey, Tino.
Probably.
Hello.
Hey, Tino. Is my window still big enough for the amount of people that are on Discord now?
No.
Not
It's
quite.
not.
Nowhere near, no. Nowhere near.
Okay, let's make it bigger. So, Ed, for introducing, there we go.
Oh,
For
dear.
introducing the profile website, you're going to play a very important role because everything we see behind me here is all made by Edward.
Oh no, why the name?
No, this is all made by Cop Vampire. So
yeah,
everything you see here is made by Cop Vampire, and basically he got just frustrated with how much we suck and not having any kind of real good profile website available for people to make profiles, save profiles, find profiles, and share them with each other faster and easier. So he started working on this neat website, which is called Wootabase right now, which I hope it's not going to stay like that.
We're just gonna Woota everything, right? Wootopedia.
Yes.
I think it was Woopedia for some time, and then we changed to Wootabase. I blame Eric.
Well, we have to find a good name for it, and since it's about profiles, you know. Otherwise, yeah, it's not. It is a database, but it's a database for profiles, for game profiles.
We call it Wooto files.
Woot? No, that's good. Makes me think about something totally else, Jeroen. It starts with Pello. Pedo. Let's. So let's try to avoid that. Okay, we already have some Wooty Figurator. That's not too bad, but that would be more something for the utility to be a Wooty Figurator.
The Wooter.
Profile base.
That'll go away.
Where's your woo? We're missing the older
Yeah,
woo.
there's gotta be a woo.
Woo profile base.
There's gotta be a woo or there's gotta be a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Wooter, swipe left or right.
so while we go through the Wootabase, which still needs a better name, that you guys need to help with, Profility, no.
That sounds quite bad, actually.
Yeah. The double O is not good enough, I'm afraid. It has to have a W. If it has WOO or it has an ing, can still do, but I think the WOO really nails it if there's any kind of WOO. Profile Wooter.
Quinn is reaching out there with the profile wooters.
Yeah.
Trying.
Okay, I cannot pause the screen. Oh shit. Oh, okay, got it.
So, what is a different? Otherwise, what is a poo-poo base? So, what is a different word for the user profiles or the profiles, the game profiles? What would be a different word for it?
Hell.
Hell? What?
The wood shop. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but
not
wood
bad.
shop, that would be like an actual shop, right?
If we're selling something, yeah.
Oh, if it's for workshop, then you may make it workshop. Workshop.
Woof out.
Presets, right? So that's a different word. So you have the woo sets. That's weird.
Preset things.
The wootings. Oh, I just realized that it's wooting with an S. Woot shop. Every profile is a DLC. Ooh, that would hurt so much if that was true. You missed
I'd make money somehow.
everything.
Yeah.
Massive, you missed everything. We're at a point where
We're at the end of the stream now.
No, we're not at the end yet. we're
Bye,
showing
guys.
the
Woof
Wootabase,
out sounds good.
which needs to have
I
a
think
better
woof out is
name.
good.
Which one?
Because woof outs is also like, because you can also have the files. It's like a play in profiles. But it's
Yeah,
also
okay.
like, if you say woof files, it kind of feels like it's a database, right? Like you have a lot of files in there, like the storage or something.
Woo files, yeah. Okay. Woo files can work.
Wootabase.
Wootabase is not wrong. Yeah, it's not wrong. The profile database.
Wootingle.
But Wootingle.
That's good. I don't think it's good for this one, but I like the word. This is the word we need to say for something else.
I feel
It will tingle your senses.
Wootabase would be more applicable for the knowledge base that we would have. If it would not be
But that's more
Woopedia.
Yeah, that should be more like a help or Woopedia.
Why not Woodbase?
I guess you could say it's a Wootabase if it would be all the knowledge base and the game profiles. You can find everything there. Then that all together would be the Wootabase. Woofix is not too bad.
You still don't have background music, do you?
No, because the sound. So now I'm YouTube, and then I forgot.
It took him a while to get
Jazz,
Discord to work,
lo-fi.
so I wouldn't.
Sick. Yeah, I think I can. Well, I have an idea.
Oh dear.
Yes. You can say that.
Wootab is kind of fun though.
Okay, I have something now.
If we have if we name it Wooter Hub, I'm gonna put and make it a theme of orange and black.
How's this? Is it too loud?
I have no idea. I'm listening to this shit.
Get Woot. That's actually pretty
It's pretty
cool.
loud.
Like a play and get good.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, you could say also, yeah, or it's GitHub, but
Yeah, if we sell bathtubs, we can call it Woot Hub. That's a good idea, Darren. Woot documents, like documents.
Wootiaments. That's not. Not too wrong, but it's not we're not talking about documents now. But that would be
I
good
made
for
a
the
logo
for the
here,
database.
so-
I mean for the knowledge base.
Shadow
Got
the
wood.
rage.
That's also good.
Achievements. Wood index.
Woody Dex.
Wood yeah, Wooty dex.
It's a
would be better.
Pokédex, Wooty Dex.
Yeah. Wooty dex would be better, yeah.
Oops. Oops. That's pretty good.
So how come Johan or Eric won't join the stream?
We're shy today.
We're safe today.
Apparently so.
I haven't done my hair today.
Neither have I, man.
See? To be honest, I thought you and Eric were gonna do it, and then
Nice.
and then
Oh,
I
no.
jumped in, and then it was like Calder all alone. I was like, oh, I can't do this. This is too sad.
You saw my puppy face.
Yeah.
It's June.
Shut up.
Yeah, June.
I'm gonna
No,
stick
but
with it from now on.
let's start introducing the Woodberry. No, let's start introducing the what is it now? Woo files, Wooty Dex. Is it Wootabase?
One of them.
Wootab.
I think just stick with the Wootabase.
We made full circle. We're back at the beginning. Oh, that's why it's called Wootabase.
Yeah.
So, Cop Vampire or Ed.
Oh dear.
What?
How it work?
Please introduce. How does it work? What do I do? What the hell is this?
Magic. So to start with, you can search through profiles or tags, but we'll just search for a game. So type in any game, like Forza.
Like one of the few that's inside. Oh my god!
One
Auto
of the few that
recommended me. It auto recommended Forza 4. That's so useful.
The ones I know
Yay!
that are there.
Okay, let's search.
Yeah,
Boom!
you have to click on- there you go.
I see. So this is a Forza Horizon 4 profile, but this is one of the multiple profiles that could be possibly here, right?
Yeah, it can have up unlimited amount.
Unlimited
Should be
amount, and they'll
Yeah.
all be
Unlimited.
stacked together up to an unlimited amount underneath each other.
Yeah, it'll be, I don't know how many, 4 per row?
All right.
Do a 4 or 5 per row, unlimited down.
So let's jump into it then. Boom! So what do we have here?
I'm waiting for the stream to catch up, hang on.
Is that a challenge? Yes.
Uh-oh,
Ah.
you challenged the RVS.
Wait, unlimited
Oh,
down.
shit.
Does that mean unlimited scrolling?
I'm gonna make sure it won't happen, but yeah, it does mean unlimited scrolling.
Because there's people are looking at making a law to ban infinitely scrolling pages.
Yeah, I know, I
Yeah.
read that
I don't like it.
article.
So-
Yeah, no, that won't happen, don't worry. It will have a page nation at one point. But this is basically a general overview of the profile in ANSI layout, because I'm lazy and didn't do the ISO layout.
What happens
I
if
love how
somebody
people are
puts in
still
a
just
one?
suggesting names.
So it shows you, if you
Which
click
one?
on DKS, you can click on the DKS key, which is shown up in the Windows button. It will show you the analog curve and all the other kind of useful-ish settings.
Did
So this-
Lekker.exe
So then the only thing that's kind of missing is maybe context, right?
Yeah, that's the thing it's adding soon.
Yeah.
TM. You can also click on the profile GUID, and it will copy straight to your clipboard.
This one. Copied.
Yeah. And if you click on the game Forza 4, because when you search tags, you can search racing and all that stuff. So if you click on Forza 4, it will actually take you to all the Forza 4 games or something like that.
Right. So let's say I just switched it to a tag search instead of a game search.
And you click on it and you can search some tags.
Let me guess which one. This one should have Rocket League also, even though it's not really racing. It has a car though. Oh my god, it's a Wooting official one.
Hey, Darren has a good point, eh?
All right.
If we want to make profiles, I want to be able to explain what, how, where, and what game key bindings, etc. Just profiles.
Yeah, Darren, I'll be adding an option so you can actually describe that more of it next update.
That would be the context part. Yeah. I really think that in-game key bindings need to be saved somewhere. It's just a config file to download and associate. Even if it's just... Oh. The average cool, do you mean that you want to have an actual file with all your bindings in there? Like your extra profile? But then you can download it as a file? I can imagine that when you get to a point where your profile is so customizable and you just don't want to lose it, and you want to have it saved locally, that you'd want to have an actual file. But otherwise, these codes refer to the file on an online server. And is it permanent, Toon, or does it get deleted after a while? Right now it's permanent, I think, isn't it?
What is? Profile codes?
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So it links to a permanent file that's online.
Yes.
And if people really need it at some point, I think you can just get a JSON file for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to like sort of store it because you don't want to save the profile codes, I guess.
So I have a
That's the
dumb
reason?
question. Are you guys going to... it's apparent that you're going to make the Wootabase a site. But are you going to include the Wootabase or some sort of function to the Wootabase inside the utility? Or...
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Oh,
Because if you have
I'll
it
let you
inside-
and work that one out.
If we have it in the utility, then people don't have to open up another browser. No offense, but it gets kind of, you know,
Yeah.
It's kind of a hassle. Even if it's just automatically copied to your clipboard and then the utility detects it, it would be nice to just browse in the utility and then click add the profile and it's there.
Yeah, right. I think so. I mean, you're right that will be like the best way it will work, definitely. But then if you look at like sort of the history of this project, it's just started as a separate website, right? But I think we can, if we have like the basics, because we already have like the nice setup and indexing of the different profiles, so it should be like, it should also make it easier to port to the utility if we want to. So it's definitely a stepping stone towards like having a better integration within the utility.
And that's the other thing. This is why I wanted to ask this a while ago. You're going to host everything online. Are you also going to make an option to retrieve profiles to the client so that the person can? I know it's within the utility, but sometimes if you're picky, you just want to download all the profiles and then mess with them offline later instead of clicking, you know, manually
Import a bunch of
save
times.
each one.
Yeah, I think what would already be a pretty nice addition is that we should just have like a import to utility button on the website. So you click it. So let's say we have a Discord invite link, right? Like it's like I don't know what the official name is, but I think it's like a magic link or whatever they call it. And you just beam into the application and that's it. So I think we can make something similar for the Wootabase, and that will already like at least make the whole process a lot easier. Or it's just like, oh, click, I want this one click, I want this one click, and it'll just get beamed into the utility.
Definitely doable.
Let me write that down. Because
Yeah, write that down.
I looked into it. Yeah.
In before it doesn't work.
Okay, I'm playing a bit around with the volume because I just saw Darren VS saying it's hard to hear you guys. Yes. So I hopefully this is better.
Should we test the volume?
Oh boy.
Well, the real
Actually, not a Daryl.
the real problem is actually that Cough Vampire is
Right.
really effing loud, and I had to lower down Discord's sound output in general, and then everybody else joins, and now everybody has like a different volume, so I need to individually change
Yeah.
people's volume. Yeah.
Is the utility PowerShell accessible? Someone has
Seems
asked
so.
that, Ewan.
PowerShell accessible. I don't know what I mean.
Honestly, no clue either.
Probably assuming that it's made on based on something else, which it's not made out of. Let's not talk about that topic. Cough is loud. No high pitched screechy noise generator. Yes, that's
Love you
actually
too,
Cough.
Quinn.
So, but I think everybody's okay now. I think only literal trash was a bit on the really soft side, but I increased the volume.
Yeah, you can thank Callum for that name.
Really? What the fuck?
Yes. God damn it, Callum.
You
How can
changed
you-
that?
Yeah,
can
no,
change
calendar
it?
change most. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
But you can't change it to something yourself?
I can. I just found out when I joined the stream. Miles too late.
Nice. We're the best volunteers.
Okay.
I feel like it's a it is a family now.
It definitely is. And I think it's going to be even more cool but when we get into the second topic with the community database where we can share
So
information
let's
with
start
each
the
other.
stream.
So that would be the Wootabase.
No, not and the Wootabase is now about the
That'll
game
be the Woopedia.
Yeah, that would be the Woopedia. Yes, the Woopedia. We'll get into the Woopedia soon. Yeah. Yes, one. Let's start the stream. Okay, so welcome to the stream, guys. In today's stream, we're already talking about the Wootabase, the Woo files, the
Woo
Wooty
file.
decks.
Excuse me.
And the many other names that it's been called until so far. So when will this be launching on the website, Ed? Or when can people start using this?
Yeah. Why is that?
No.
Yoon? Ed Yoon? Actually, it's also a question to me, I think. But I think it should have been
It
this,
is more of a
this
question
week.
to you lot.
No, it's a question to all of us. But this is coming soon, like everything else that is coming soon, just like in utility. Where
I think Wootabase is getting like pretty ready for launch.
yeah,
I'm gonna say this is.
if we have an
Personal
open
opinion,
discussion,
I think you nailed it.
if we're having an open discussion about the Wootabase and when we launch it,
Lekker.
it's I think there's only one thing waiting for it is if Kop feels ready enough, and then the second part is if Jeroen feels ready enough. And then we can unofficially launch it and see how it works. Because I know Darren VS is going to break it after a day.
Do it.
Yes, I'll promise.
Hey, Calder, I sent you a profile. You can add that to it. You can show how that works if you want by submitting it.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, let me add a profile.
Will the
Submit your
Wootabase
profile,
include
Colin.
profiles for both the Wooting 1 and 2? So I think they'll be relatively compatible, and meaning that I think for Wooting 1 it will just can ignore the numpad part. I don't think we really make we don't make a distinction in saving the profiles if it's a Wooting 1 or Wooting 2. So if it's a Wooting, if you save from a Wooting 1, it will just like sort of drag the colors to the right.
On the Wootabase, it'll just be a white key.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything special with that. I just ignored it.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. I'm just gonna go Wootabase myself. Like, oh my god, it could be used in so many ways. The more I think about it, the more I think it's a good name and a terrible idea.
Well, that's perfect.
That makes it that makes it a good name then.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm adding. Oh my god, Cop! What the hell? This is a profile for Bat. That's it? How short do you want it?
There is a reason for it being so short because it actually shows up when you type in the profile, and if you have them too long, it will go mental at you.
Oh, so it's actually the profile name itself?
It goes underneath the name, yeah.
Oh, okay, in that way. Well, okay.
There'll be more of a profile description later.
Okay, because okay, because if it's something underneath the name and this is all you can type, then it's more like a slurp than any kind of description.
It is, yeah. It's more of a brief, very brief one to identify it as something else different.
Isn't it better than just put the name of the creator there? Just like profile's been made by blah blah blah. This profile's been made by whatever name you have.
Oh, I'll up it quickly to 30 or something.
It's very limited.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'll up it.
Hey,
No, it's
do
okay.
you still need me for your topic? Otherwise, I'll head out. It's kind of getting late.
Oh right, for you it's even super late. Yeah. Yeah, we started also very late. Well, the knowledge base basically, but that's okay. We have the link.
Okay, I think you'll figure it out.
Yeah, it will be fine.
Okay, good.
We'll hope for the best.
Yes.
Good luck, guys. Talk to you later.
Good night,
Yeah,
Yoon.
bye.
Yoon. Good night,
Bye-bye.
Yoon.
Thanks for
Good.
showing
Bye-bye.
up.
Bye bye, Yoon.
That's nice. Will the Wootabase include profiles for both the Wooting 1 and Wooting 2? That was just answered, wasn't it? Or did I just...
Yeah, it will hold both of them.
Okay. Wooter...
Okay, I've upped it to 50 now.
That's it. Okay, well, I'm submitting this one anyway.
Yep.
Boom. Submit. Whoa, I didn't even know... Oh, this is probably old profile number.
Yeah, that's an old profile.
Yes.
What's going on here?
We're showing off the...
Oh, shut up.
I hate you. You know that.
What's going on here? Wait, are you
A
streaming?
live stream. Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
live
it's a
stream.
I
live
can't hear
stream.
anything nice. Thank you, computer.
So there we have...
There we go. Are
Callum.
you streaming? Yep,
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes, we're live streaming.
Okay, hello. That was very awkward. Rip.
We're just showing the
So if
Wootabase.
you-
And I made a Wootatl profile with an old profile number, which is not working out well, as you can see.
It's an old profile, that's why.
Yeah, but that's no problem. I mean, look, I submitted it. It's there. Now if I go search for Battlefield 1, awaiting approval, Wootatl. So you should not, you should not approve this one, obviously.
So, dumb
Yeah, no,
question.
I can easily delete that.
Yeah.
In the event that the Wootabase becomes something along the lines of, oh, I don't know. I can't say the Pirate Bay. I don't know. 4chan maybe, where there's a bunch of re-uploads of the exact same thing. Who's gonna manage it?
The people who have access to the admin panel.
Oh, so you're
me.
finally doing the wheat base thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God, about time.
Oh, great input. Great input.
I know,
Thank you.
I know.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
The best input.
No, but
Go back to applied energetics.
yeah, I reduced the sound a bit, but I think when it comes in
Okay,
general, when
go.
it comes to filtering and managing the profiles, this is exactly why it has to be announced first and just see what you hit against, because people are definitely going to
Attack it.
yeah, attack it. In other ways, there are going to be too much submissions, and it's just going to have you'll have a hard time to have any kind of overview. And then at that point,
there's
you'll be
going to
like,
people who
oh,
want,
let's add some filters. Sorry, go ahead.
and then there's going to be people that are going to try and break it with different types of injections.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to see. I need people to test injections.
Voting
I shouldn't really
thumbs-
advertise that, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do them. I know they exist. I know how they theoretically work. I just haven't had any practice.
Well, here's from chat. Preferably in a profile selector, I'd have the ability to tell the profile what buttons I do what actions with, instead of me to adapt to the profile. The ability to tell profile. I'm not 100% sure what you mean with that, Darren. Yes.
Alright,
I mean,
so
well, let's
when
put
you
in.
have your customized melee button, where everyone has different buttons, some use F, some use C, and name it. If I
Don't be
have
so
to
weird
change
and
that
be.
What you
in
can
every
also
single profile, then it's probably gonna be really difficult, as you cannot adapt the dynamic keystroke to.
Wouldn't you
a
then
different key.
just be better off just making your own profile from scratch?
Yeah, but I figured out this should be the solution to not having to do that.
I feel like it's equal amount of work.
I guess what is most important. I guess this is one side why you need to have the context or some kind of description. But in either case, it's going to be a lot of work if you need to also consider what kind of game bindings you have, and then having to also put it in the profile. But I understand what you mean, because everybody has different buttons.
Oh yeah, that's so I'm trying to think of a way to word this so that it actually makes sense to everyone.
Yeah, you would expect if somebody has like weird button layouts that they use, you would preferably that they add to their description why they have, like, I don't know, they have melee on G key all of a sudden instead of a grenade, whatever, and that they'll explain, oh, this is using my melee key instead of a grenade. That's what you would want to have in the description. But if it's not there, right, it can be very confusing. But actually, when you bring this up, you also have this other problem where a game like Forza, you would preferably want to. Well, no, Forza you can get around with it. No, but maybe no. But for each game, you want to also do something with the game binding. So let's say you have. I don't like to use Overwatch every time, but with Overwatch or kind of any kind of shooter game, you want to unbind the WASD keys in the game itself, for example, so you can have the analog movement on WASD. So in the description, you would definitely have to add like, oh, you have to disable the WASD keys. And then in Counter-Strike, for example, you would have this whole like, oh, you need to add this command to make it work in Counter-Strike or something like that. So like every game will have also its specific thing that you'll need to do to make the profile work in the way you want it to work. And there's just so few games where that is not really the case. It will never be like I load the profile and I can get started straight away without even studying the profile or even looking at it really. I think.
So what I wanted to ask earlier was, so typically for community generated forums, I don't know if it's a forum, anything that's usually community generated, there's some sort of authentication so that somebody just can't go in and start posting things like crazy. How are you going to authenticate that the user is uploading both a valid profile and is an actual owner of a Wooting product?
Well, if you
Simple
want to
answer,
generate
there
a
is
code,
no way.
There is no way.
Yeah, and if you want to generate a code, in general, if you want to generate a code, you need to have. No, maybe you can do it in the utility as an offline profile. Maybe now.
You'll be able to do it
Except
on the
for
utility
DKS.
because it's an actual program, but because it's a website, there's a certain limitation to what the browser can have access to. I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure that's
you
one of them.
can't prevent at all. Yeah, somebody doesn't own a Wooting keyboard to submit a profile. But I was just thinking, if you submit a profile code, you can already automatically see if it's a valid code or not. That has a profile.
Oh, if it's not a valid code, it won't do shit. It will literally
Yeah.
just break.
Well, I think. Well, I don't know what happened with breaking. I don't know exactly what happens now, but you can also talk with Yoon, and then it can search. No, it already does that, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have the preview. Yeah.
Yeah, it searches it. So if it doesn't find something, it will be just basically a blank page with an error.
Right. Yeah. But anyway,
And
in any
then
case,
the
you
admin
can't-
should get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think you can just automatically get rid of it. Just give an error, hey, this is not a valid code, and then bam, gone.
Because then we come to the problem of being like every other, what is it? Some sort of community with administration is everybody has an account and password. So would we have to go that way for the Woot files?
That's a good question. I mean, in general, when it comes to making an account and everything, we just try to avoid it at all costs, at any point that we can. So that's also why in the utility there's no such thing as an account.
Well, yeah, because then you become like Razor. No offense, but
Yeah, I understand what you mean. But I mean, that said, at the same time, we are considering at some point to add like an optional thing to make an account.
If you were like Razor, you'd have more RGB.
But you know, having user accounts does make a lot of things easier because you have some kind of authentication and ID, permanent ID. But that's a discussion for another time because that's for something else. But for the profile website, yeah, it's not linked to any account. You don't need an account to add a profile. Yeah. So also when it comes to credit, for example, you can put whatever name there. So you can make a really shitty profile and say it was from Cop Vampire, which was not.
well, it could be.
Wow. Nah, all my profiles are great. I don't know what you're about.
How's
Well,
that server?
Oh, shut up.
But I would say
I quit. Bye. Done.
No. No, but I would say when it comes to accounts, at some point there will be some kind of account thing going on. I think it's unavoidable at some point. But I feel that when it comes to general use and access to the device and its functions, you don't need an account. The account should just be something that can give you quality of life. So it makes things easier, it can give you some recognition, and it can, you can have a name in a certain, within the community, for example. Just like you have it on Discord, right? And everybody knows you by that name on Discord. And that can be linked also in how you submit a profile, for example. But general use should never need an account, using any of the functions, basically. So I saw in the chat.
Maybe perhaps some, not necessarily, for necessary functionality, you need an account. Maybe you could have the account just so that, I don't know, you're putting your Wooting serial number to verify that you are a Wooting owner, and then once you use the account as authentication, oh god, I'm stuttering all over the place. You get instant approval when you upload something.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but this is the part where I feel it's a quality. It should become a quality of life thing. So not like a restriction to submit the profile. But I guess when it comes to, let's say, if you have profile management within the utility and profiles being shared inside the utility that you can find back, that is something that must have some kind of account restriction, just to make sure that filtering and optimization can be done to make sure that authentic users are submitting profiles, because it will be displayed inside the application if that's the case. Yeah.
Calder, you're cutting out a lot in Discord, just so you know.
Is this
Wanna
better?
turn your mic maybe. I don't know yet.
I was a
Keep
bit far
talking,
away
we'll
from
find
my mic.
out.
Okay.
Quite literally.
Well, it just came down to that when it comes to inside utility stuff and having no account and submitting profiles and other people can see those profiles inside the utility, that should not be an option. So
You're
if you would
still cutting
have
out.
still cutting out.
Yes.
Turn your mic sensitivity down.
Right.
I mean, or up. Or is it up? Sorry.
Down.
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 Excuse me.
I'm too tired for this shit.
This is why your server stopped working.
Oh. I have to send that back. It's not fun.
Lup lup lup. There.
Alright, that's a bit better. Let's see how that goes.
Professional streamer.
Yes. You want to see my $200 microphone? No.
Brings out like $4 one from Best Buy or something.
$200
Nice.
in what currency?
Okay. Anyway, I mean, I enough was picked up from just now what I just said. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds alright now.
Okay. Good.
Okay, right, I'm gonna quickly read through the questions on here.
Yes. What is chat saying? You don't have the human resource to ensure that accounts are smooth and not a technical obstacle or security concern. That's exactly what average cool is saying. But that's the thing also, that's why I'm saying is, as long as it's on the website, we can be less concerned, but as soon as it's inside the utility, we should be a lot more concerned, because this is basically on everybody's desktop using the keyboard, and you don't want any kind of weird profiles popping up in that software, or people using profane names for the profiles, for example, or just finding a way how to get weird shit going on in the utility itself. So that would definitely need some kind of automatic moderation, which would need accounts.
Going to be honest, you're going to turn into YouTube like that by automatically filtering everything. And to make things worse, you start filtering language, which means you start filtering English, which could get quite messy, even for an AI/algorithm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not at that point.
Well,
but,
time to make an AI.
But there's definitely a lot of great standard filters already online that can find, like standard profanity filters, for example, that will work in multiple languages. There's probably enough libraries online that you can find, which you can filter on. But there's always going to be some level of abuse when it comes to this. But I think for what exactly what Average Cool said right now, it's not one of our biggest concerns. Should not be one of our biggest concerns right now. And for the Wootabase, it's purely about finding profiles. It will be administrated, but we don't have that many submissions, so it's not like an overhead. But once you start to scale, it becomes an issue. And I think once you start to scale, that's the moment you need to take accounts more serious and restrict people that don't have accounts in what they can exactly do. So you could restrict, like, for example, giving the profile a custom name. You can only select the game, for example, and then you'll get a generic user ID or something.
Okay. So, sure, there's plenty of ways to filter profanity. What happens if the game name contains some sort of obscene word?
The game name itself? Well, that's just the game. That's more than welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
if you're playing a
how are you
game that's
going
called
to
Dick
filter
Roll
out the game
44, then...
How are you going to figure out, filter the, what's a legitimate, name?
Oh, what's
versus
a
just
legitimate
an actual...
name for the game? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I guess you would
can
still have a
list
profanity
of
filter.
games and
Yeah,
then
you can still custom fill in the game name, is what you're saying, right? But I guess also if
No,
you're
you
just...
could have... You could have a list of currently known games, and then you could have nominations to add a list of add a game to the list that other people can select from a drop down.
Okay, right. Then this is where I get them come in. Okay, there is services that do that, but they cost a lot of money, and a lot being a few $100s a year.
That's kind of.
So I'm currently not.
Few $100s a year. That's easy for you, cop. Why didn't you just pay for
Shut
it?
up.
No, but if you A few $100s per year for a really good profanity filter that you can use on multiple things. That's okay.
Open source is the way to go. Just make one.
I mean, for
Fuck off.
No, a few $100s per year for once it's relevant, right? A few $100s per year is very cheap for something like that, if that's on a year basis.
Well,
then
once we get to the point where there's a lot of people using it, I will probably then, or Calder will look into maybe buying something
Well,
like that.
at that point, you don't own it at all, Cop.
At that point, you become.
I don't own it anyway, I don't know what you're about.
At that point, you become a full service, which
It's
could...
not Ewan, it's only. Oh, hang on.
Now I only need game profiles for Wooting and the Model O software. This is literally the only thing I miss about Logitech software and Razer Synapse. Did we miss an... I don't know if we missed something from chat. I think we should...
I posted something.
Key bindings information?
It's a suggestion.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, I'm gonna throw it on the stream.
So are we going to have a community voting system for Wooting profiles?
That will be coming with accounting.
Oh, so you will be making an account. You will be making like an account-based thing.
Well, that's the only way we can, check. But I'm still thinking the
Unique
logistics
votes.
behind doing it.
Oh.
But yeah, voting will have to come with accounting, otherwise people can spam it and abuse the fucker.
Yeah, but I guess
And
this
then
is
you have
also
to,
this is a
account.
topic that follows up after initial launch for just using it in general without an account and no upvotes.
Well, even if you launch it, just for the small community that it is, it might be 5. But once a lot of people start getting into it, then we're going to see a problem.
Yes, and that's the part where you need to start making it for skill, more and more for skill. But we'll see what happens. Because to make accounts for the website should not be too difficult. But it's more a matter of what type and how you want to do it, which makes it more difficult. Anyway, so I looked into Darren VS, who posted a suggestion how you can kind of make a link between the buttons that were mapped and the actions that they do in the game. But this would also mean that the tap, I assume it's tab, right?
Oh yeah, that's typing.
That's okay. I assume that also means people need to manually fill this in, and every game that will be a different kind of name for the action also, I guess. For first-person shooters, it's very easy, but when it comes to other games... Yeah.
I mean, it's always like, it won't be the same. It depends on the user. You can have like these preset names, so you don't have to type each keybind. Because most of these keybinds come really frequently in that.
Yeah.
So that could be a selection.
Yeah, perhaps if it recognizes that you bound X input keys to certain keys, that it will give you a prompt where you can fill in what it does. So you don't need to manually like select the key or like type in the key what does what. And the same can be done for...
how... No, go ahead.
No, and then for DK, I think for X input bindings, it's one thing to have it done. But I think for DKS, it's more important to have it done, because DKS, you need to have some kind of context. Do you want to know what's going on and what the point of it is? And it's even more, it relies even more on how you did your key bindings, because there's a good chance, for example, in Fortnite, this whole like automatic building stuff, you need to bind this like build key, which usually is never bound at all. You need to bind it to something, and then you need to add it to DKS. And if you see the DKS itself, you'll be like, well, what's the point, right? Well, how does this work?
That comes with full programmability though in the future, right?
Sorry?
That'll come with full programmability in the future. We have macro support.
Yes. So okay. Well, you could say with Well, let's keep the macro support on the side, but full programmability, yes, because the macro thing is going to be an extension of DKS. But I assume that when you have when full programmability works, it doesn't matter what kind of profile you make, because it just translates the key ID with the profile. So even though your W key might not be at the regular W key location, and it might be at your P location, when you load the profile, it might still be at the W key location. But that's a Jeroen question. Because there's a difference between what is the key input I'm getting and what is my keyboard ID number. And I assume it's linked to the keyboard ID number, not like what is my keyboard outputting. But again, that's a Jeroen question.
So what about those? So what about those times where, okay, so let's say I upload a profile and it has, you know, X, Y, and Z settings in it. And then somebody uploads a program and it has X, Y, and Z.1 settings in it. Okay, so the catalog curve is, you know, slightly different, but the profile is very much the same. Are you going to filter those out, or are you going to keep every single iteration that exists except for duplicate?
Well, right now you can assume every single iteration that exists will be there. In general, you should also see that. In general, you could also see that every profile somebody makes in their utility and then shares, I guess. Yeah, at the moment they share it, it makes a unique profile code, saving the profile online in a file permanently. So.
And then the website hooks into that as well, so the
Yes.
URL also shows the same thing, Calder sees.
Yes. So even though you might have like thousands of profiles on this website, which are all the same or nearly the same, but they just have a slight different name or a slight different change, they will still be here. And the only thing it's really doing is giving you a preview of the profile that's already saved permanently anyway. So the only disadvantage is just as an end user, when you're choosing a profile, you just see there's not that much difference. So it would be like, well, do I like Cop Vampire better than not Daryl? Or
Hey,
do I like Darren VS profiles better than the Tino profiles? You know?
Of course.
Well, nobody likes Cop Vampire, so.
Yeah, no one does. My server killed itself because it wasn't be near me.
It killed itself twice, apparently.
Yeah, it has now, yeah. Actually 3 times. It's now 3 times it's killed itself. We're not going into that.
Not Daryl already mentions, how would the example that was on screen work with different layouts? Would you need to manually choose the layout you are using?
That's true.
Yeah.
The answer to that is yes.
Yeah. well, no, it was about the example. But I think this is a really good. I mean, this is a case of you bump into it and you think of a solution, because there's so many, like, just like. Let's see if your name is still literally trash. Yeah, literal trash. Mentioned. He's been poking and looking at how can we break the system. You know, like what can go wrong. And
I hate you, Callum.
And there's going to be a lot of things, right? And it's just you can't just you can prepare as much as you can, but at some point you just deal with it if it happens.
There you go, change your name literally.
Okay, whoever changed my name, you suck.
Wait, you did change it? Because you're still literally trash on the chat. On the
I
voice
changed
chat.
it.
Oh! The only here is here. I don't know what that is.
Is it applicable in Dota? What, the Wootabase or the profiles?
Well, I assume that the Wootabase will work for any profile, but if the question is like analog input for Hero and Dota, I have no idea. I don't play Dota at all.
I know there was a doc on the docs for it, but didn't think it came over anything.
Now the docs, I think, is only about a fix if you're in the hero selection menu and it keeps scrolling because it sees a joystick input, which is a bug from Steam.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I did see a...
Okay. So
Using the
feature
double-
idea. Oop, sorry.
Okay, well, the only thing I want to add to Dota, I think the only thing they can really effectively use is a dynamic keystroke. There would definitely be something in there that would be useful for Dota. Using the double tap keyboard. With double tap keyboard, you mean the Lekker Edition keyboard? And what did you want to say, literal trash? In the meanwhile.
Once again, I hate the mods here.
Can he change
So-
change his name to what it's supposed to be?
Oh, fine.
Thank you for being pulled out. If you change it to Red Lobster, I'm gonna be so mad. Anyway, so what I wanted to say was, and that thought is gone. It's gone. It's just done. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Oh yeah, Baseball Super just mentions now dynamic pressing a little and pressing a lot. So that's what I was just saying. I think that's the only thing you can really find something useful for Dota with. But I don't know how much delayed the stream is, so probably like almost 30 seconds, almost a minute, I don't know. I saw something else here. News about 60% Wooting from Gomozo. No. Honestly, no news about 60% keyboard. We're just focused on the Switch right now and the Lekker Edition keyboard, and ramping up to that launch, and also improving a lot of the things that we have running right now. So that being some customer service things, that being knowledge based information, and a lot more that you don't really see anything from the front side of. And 60% keyboard is just, there's nothing new about right now.
Right. So what I wanted to ask earlier, and then I forgot about, and then I have another question that I forgot about it. So I'm gonna ask my first question. So recently, since it's quite a pain, let's say your Wooting keyboard fucks up and you have to completely reset it. You lose all your profiles. Will there be like an online cloud function so that it will temporarily upload your profiles, reset it, and then re-download your profiles?
That'd be a
Alright.
thing for Ewan.
Because
Should
would
actually
it store them
also-
in the Wootabase?
Yeah, we should also check if I think if you reset the keyboard, it resets all your active profiles. It doesn't reset your offline profiles.
No. Mine removed all of my profiles.
With resetting the keyboard?
Yes. I had to. I clicked reset on the utility software and removed everything.
Oh wait, but if you go to the utility and then go to settings and then you have like reset profiles, is that the one you pressed or?
No.
Oh, okay, so it's an actual keyboard reset where you press like mode and right arrow key or scroll lock right arrow key and then plug it in?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I
If-
did, and it removed the profiles. It removed everything from the utility as well as.
Oh, because it shouldn't remove any of the offline profiles. I think we also give you a warning like, oh, put all your active profile, save all your active profiles, which is basically putting it in the offline profiles.
Okay, so that's a bug for another day then, not here.
Well, that would be a bug, yeah, but let me write this down.
I think I mentioned that before, that it would be nicer if when you do a restore, it saves all the profiles that are still detectable on the keyboard to a profile manager instead of deleting them.
Yeah, I was planning to allow, when I got users working, to allow them to save offline, non-public profiles. To make it so you can reset your keyboard and still have your profiles left over, but still think about how to do the user accounts.
Yeah, but what should be happening in the utility is just that all your offline profiles should just be saved. It shouldn't remove them at all. Only if you uninstall the utility, I guess, and then install it again. I remember we added maybe a checkbox if you uninstall the utility if you want to save your local data or not, or you want to keep the local data or not. But I don't know if it was added or not, so I'm not sure about that. That's another Yoon question.
I'm looking at what Darren VS put into the chat, and it's pretty cool.
Okay, let's take a look. Oh, I see. And now it's exactly the same thing, but now it's cool because it looks better.
Yes.
This is how people work, Darren VS.
I know.
There is a problem
I've
with
been in a
it.
company where this was like that.
Yeah, there is a problem with how that would work because you have to then manually add every description of each key every time.
Well, that's exactly the thing. That's exactly the
back
same.
a minute.
I feel
same
like
problem
this
we
should
just
be
discussed. Yeah.
optional for the person who uploads his profile if they want to put the extra effort into this.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, depending on how good your profile is, people will use it.
And to make it easier, it's like I said, it can take a look at which key did you bind the X input button, and then it will automatically open an input field. Hey, what does this do?
This
That's
also
what I wanted to ask.
like immediately describes what the keys do in the profile.
Yeah.
So then you don't need the context area. And
Well, you still
these
need
could
context
be-
for maybe in the game you need to change something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so going to that, what I was going to ask is, are we going to have like a Steam-esque feature where in the game there's an overlay that could show you profiles for that game that other people have set up on WootHub?
Oh wait, let me jump into that question again. I got it just half. I just put on the stream what we were talking about before, what Darren VS made, which is basically the same but then looks better. Ask again, sorry.
So are we going to have are you guys going to build a Steam-esque feature where in game, Wootility could, or if Wootility detects you running a game, it could offer profiles for that game that the community has submitted, maybe in an overlay, or look at, as you said, look at how you have your keys mapped and offer profiles based on that.
I simply said, I hope it never comes to that.
Really?
Because the way Steam does it right now, well, there's two things, okay? One is I hope it never comes to that, because the way Steam does this, and the reason why Steam does this, is because there's no game that supports a Steam controller, and what you're basically doing is like, oh, I have a device, and here you get a bunch of options to modify the device in many different ways, using keyboard, mouse, and controller, so that you can use it for a certain game, and then you can make a profile of it and share it with others, and then others can jump in it. But basically, it's still modifying the device, acting like it's different type of controllers, and then emulating that. And it works.
Well,
it works better in Steam than it works, and it works very well in Steam because Steam itself and Big Box itself does controller emulation, so it's all software driven, so not hardware driven. So that also means
no offense, but the same thing happens with the Wootility, where a controller will work into like a physical. I got my Xbox controller and it works in the game. I don't know, grip, because I'm playing it right now. It'll work in grip, but I disconnect my controller, make sure that it's not connected to device manager, and I use the Wooting keyboard, and it doesn't work at all. It's just as janky as the Steam software. No offense.
No offense taken, don't worry. But that's true, because the whole problem is the way the solution is the problem that people are proposing, and then Steam is like an amplified solution of the problem that we are facing right now, which is you still need to use the damn controller, which is a broken way of doing things, because every game supports like the whole controller keyboard stuff differently and not always well, and it changes over time. And even a company like Steam has apparently very little influence on it. So it's a really shitty solution in either case. So that's why I hope it never comes to a point where you get to building a community and profile sharing where you're really like hammering down on how to set up all your different controller buttons on your device, and that's the only way you can make the game work. That's why I would rather never get to that point. And because to make this also, and that's the second point, to make something like this takes a lot of work. Like we're never able to make that. It just, with our current situation, we just never be able to make that. That's just too much work. It's impossible. For the same time of making that, we could have added loads of features to the keyboard itself, which has nothing to do with the whole controller bullshit, which is much more fun. That would, for example, be a more extended dynamic keystroke and macros implemented into it, which is much more useful than having better profile sharing with Xbox controller stuff. You know what I mean with that?
Yeah, I understand. It makes sense. It makes sense.
So what I do hope happens is, or what I hope which direction it will take is that what we can do better in general is that right now, when you plug in the keyboard, it's seen as a Xbox controller, and you're binding Xbox controller buttons to different keyboard keys, and then that way it works for different games, which works, doesn't work, you know. But there's the problem where Windows doesn't really, how do we say that? Windows behaves a bit weird dealing with the hardware device as a controller. And we've looked into how is it if we emulate the controller, just like how Steam does it, emulate the Xbox controller instead of being an actual controller hardware device. And emulating, you can control a lot more things, and you can probably bump into a lot less issues for users, like, oh, is my controller in player slot 1 or player slot 2, for example. And this has nothing to do about profile sharing yet, but it does have to do with how can you better implement the whole Xbox controller method, is by emulating the controller on the PC. But that also means that you need to have a client running in the background all the time, which is not a big deal. But that's something that comes.
It's just resources used for people that don't have it.
It's definitely resources used to emulate a controller, and I don't think it needs to be a lot. So you have other programs doing exactly this. Called they changed the name. It's called Pinnacle Profiler, but they changed the name to something else, which I forgot. There's a 360E, I think, which does it also, emulates the controller, and. Yeah, you can take a look what you need to do with that kind of software to get something working the way you want it, and it's always a hassle. So what I'd rather see happening is something like it's like the Analog SDK. Is the Analog SDK to be more integrated with different applications and hopefully also games, but then also. What you can do with the Analog SDK is hook it up with a controller emulator, and this way you can also circumvent this whole doing the Xbox stuff from the keyboard. But what should be happening in the future, which should be the case, is you start up a game. You don't need to change any of the key bindings. You don't need to set up any kind of profile, because in the game your keyboard keys, for example, your standard keys are WASD for walking around. The game sees, hey, this is an analog device, and automatically WASD is now your analog input keys, which is more like the game knows that from WASD I can either get a value which is 0 or 1, or I can get values that is 0.01 up till 0.01 up till 1. So there's a whole range of input I can get from WASD, and if you get a range of WASD, the only thing they then need to do is like, oh, this is an analog curve, this is the input curve that I'm expecting from this device, or when this device gives me this input, this is the input curve, and this is what should happen in the game. Just like when you hook up an Xbox controller and you start moving the joystick, there's also like an analog curve they make which outputs into the game. That's ideally what you want to have an analog input keyboard. You don't need to do shit and it just works. But that is very far in the future, and hopefully that can be the case. Okay, so I see Cop Vampires already adding it textually in chat.
Pardon?
Oh, about the SDK?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Simon's doing merging the both, but yeah.
Simon is mainly working on the analog SDK, not on the RGB one.
Oh really?
Yet.
Okay, I thought he was merging the both.
Yeah, he might be dabbing into the RGB one, but it's mostly just analog SDK right now. So he's fully focused on analog SDK. Yeah. And then for Baseball Super, I realized you meant for the Lekker Edition the rapid trigger function, which in the past we called maybe dynamic actuation or something. We changed to rapid trigger. I mean, this would definitely work in Dota, but I think you'll still have to deal with cooldowns, I guess. But you can spam keys very, very, very fast with rapid trigger. Boo. Let's see. They're not looking into open source in the Wootility last I heard. Yeah, okay, because that was not about the Wootility, the open source part. It was about the analog SDK. Where is Simon? That's a good question.
Probably in bed.
I don't know. Can we use the gyroscope? Can we use the gyroscope on the Wooting one? It's funny.
Yes, the gyroscope is still active on the Wooting one.
Soon.
No, no one's using it for some reason.
Yeah, there's no docs on or anything. It's there, but it's got no SDK for it. That's basically why it's not working.
That explains why I'm drifting to the left all the time.
Ah, yeah, there we go. If your dash is not, if your dash is not perfect, you will start steering.
Why is the site on .nl, by the way? I'm confused.
Wait, and the Wootabase?
Profiles is .nl.
Oh yeah, it's nothing to worry about.
Just don't comment. Just deal with it. That's all I can say.
You have another idea, Darren? Consular.
Oh, what game? Disable keys. That'd be good. Just outright disable the keys.
Wait, what?
Have you made one, have you, Callum? Cool.
How come I can access the admin panel though?
Average code is nil there, yeah.
Like, if I just made a new account, why can't I access the admin panel?
Maybe we can do. Give me a second.
Oh no! Oh no! I've already broke his website.
Okay, but let's get into the next and final topic. So we can put Wootabase now at a pause. Let me grab it here. And this is about the Woopedia. Here we go. So for some of the people on this Discord voice chat from backstage, we're going to have a talk on Sunday, as you know. And this was shared to you guys just now, today. But it basically comes down to that we want to make a knowledge base built by the community. So it's kind of like a Wooting Wiki, I guess, where hopefully we can have a situation. No, let me put it differently. We were noticing that for our own knowledge base, the Wooting knowledge base, though it's a useful knowledge base, it's very slow to update. And we're not able to capture every issue and also not write it out. And there's a lot of information always going around, and sometimes there's a lot of questions also going around, and that's all over Discord. And sometimes it's pinned, other times people use a message link to it. And there's just a bunch of information going around. And it just made it really, we felt it made it really cumbersome for everybody to find the right information, and you get a lot of repeated questions by different people. So we felt that we wanted to give, well, definitely the Wooting volunteers, so those are the guys in Orange and Discord, more access to the Wooting knowledge base, but there was no good way to do that. So we felt, so another way of thinking was, usually you have like usually would have like a forum, for example. You would have administrators on a forum, and people would post a topic, which would describe the issue they're facing, for example, or a question that they have. And people from the community start replying and answering the question. And then in the future, people can find this topic or this thread back and find an answer they're looking for, which is very useful. But we hate forums. We don't want to have forums. We don't want to have people making accounts for forums. We don't want to manage forums. So that's why we also have Discord. And we like Discord, but Discord's major disadvantage is that stuff doesn't archive well and isn't indexed at all. So that's why we wanted to make a, let's call it for now, a community knowledge base, which is edited and moderated by the community, basically. So this would be a place where you can find a lot more of the issues and solving the issues, maybe frequently asked questions that's been asked on Discord or within the community with answers. Because reality is that the Wooting team is not really great also in always centralizing and publishing all the information that's going around. So that's why we wanted to make this community knowledge base. It's still like
no, this is just petty. On the stream, the people who the live stream section for who is in the chat is way off screen.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it is a bit.
It's very much the only person who's showing up is Callum, and nobody likes him anyway.
It's because I'm amazing.
So true.
I really like that idea though.
The size just keeps changing.
What, the knowledge base site?
Yes. What? No, sorry. Darren yes was he really likes this idea. You answer it.
Yeah, the idea is really good because right now, if someone is having issues, we usually just stack each other that we knows the answer to it. But it would be better if people can just link documents like that instead of messages or people.
Yes, exactly.
And,
now, would they ever be made into a documentation on the docs? That's another one.
Well,
yeah, good point.
I think we're, yeah. It's kind of we'll get into a point where I assume we'll get into a point where the community knowledge base will have more information than the Wooting knowledge base itself. But the Wooting knowledge base itself should be the place where, in the end, it should be the place where you have official information and help documentation, and you know whatever
First check protocol error.
Yeah, you know whatever is on there that should be true. And you should be able to find it there, but otherwise,
unless it's not,
which would be probably very often when it comes to issue solving.
So it's not reliable, even though it's designed to be reliable.
Well,
that makes no sense.
No, you're wrong, because it is reliable, but with anything that is very reliable, it's very limited in scope. You know what I mean? So whatever is on there is reliable, even though the game profiles right now need to be updated. But it is reliable, but you don't have that many of them. So when it comes to issues, there are some key issues that with how to solve it on there, which is reliable, but it doesn't have every issue that you could face, which might be on the community knowledge base.
Great example would be
That's
in
fair.
League of Legends, people usually have quick cast on shift. If they try to use that with dynamic keystroke, it's not gonna work. And like, there's no way for them to know unless they ask.
This is about the profiles again, then, right?
Yeah, this is like some issue that comes up every now and then, and it's not documented anywhere.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that would be documented on the public one.
That would be probably on this.
That would
be on the knowledge base, yeah.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That would be definitely a good example, because this is the first time I hear it.
Oh.
And it's probably been pointed out, don't get me wrong, on Discord. but it's
Yeah.
like
People usually just stack me on it, and then I explain.
Okay, so yeah, but that would be a perfect example, yeah. So that would be on the community knowledge base because you're very aware of it. Maybe a couple of guys on the Discord are very aware of it, and it just needs to be documented. And there's Cop Vampire also noticed it when, for some of the game profiles, he gave some new profile codes and a couple of images. I tried to update it, but in the end, he hit a bump in updating it because his Forza profile is totally different because it's a Cop Vampire profile and it doesn't make sense anymore. And then you need to start figuring it out, right? But it would have been much easier if he just immediately was able to edit the article itself and make it relevant.
Forza sucks.
Insert.
Forza is tricky. So this knowledge base, it's not even launched yet or something, but for backstage people, that this Sunday we'll have a talk about it, and I think you already set up some of the basics of the knowledge base, and it should be as easy as just writing a markdown document. Markdown is very easy to use if you don't know what it is, which you probably do. And then you can just publish it here. And the only thing is the question and the thing is who gets access to it to add documents. Will they need to be administrators, approvals, maybe a way that people in general can submit to it if necessary. But probably at the start we'll only have access to people, administrators in the community. But yeah. So that's kind of another thing that we want to start adding so there can be better support. Nothing is true. Quick question concerning the Wooting 2 Lekker Edition. Will the second edition of Wooting 2 Lekker be available to look like Wooting 2? Especially the RGB highlighting the letters don't mean the backlight blue and blah blah. Simply because the spec-wise Lekker seem better on paper. And the percent cadence. So it just comes down to if the Wooting 2 Lekker Edition will also be available on a normal Wooting 2 with Lekker switches. Because many have the same issues. Yeah, so it's very simple that obviously we're not going to make the Lekker switch and just put it on one keyboard that we call the Lekker Edition and then don't make it available in any other way. That's obviously not going to happen. But what is happening is that Lekker Edition itself is a limited edition. We're only going to make 1,000 of them with the Lekker switch on it. It will be the first one that comes out with the Lekker switch. And after we finished the Lekker Edition, we are going to start adding the Lekker switches into our other keyboard models and perhaps in a new keyboard model. But that's where I'm placing a question mark for now, because we're very focused on the Switch and on the Lekker Edition right now first. But obviously Lekker switches are definitely going to come into other keyboard models. And then when it comes to, an obvious question related to this is also people ask what the pricing is going to be. And then it's simply, you will find out soon enough, but Lekker Edition is going to be more expensive than the Wooting 2. And keyboards with Lekker switch are going to be more expensive than keyboards with FlareTech switch. That's what it comes down to. That's what you can expect. Do you plan
on
a
Lekker switch?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was a troll comment. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Do you make plain blue Wooting 1, 2 for FlareTech? Lekker? Okay, I see. Was that the question? That was the troll comment?
No, my troll question was going to be, what about the Lekker switch?
Oh, the Lego switch, not the Lekker switch.
That one is only available on Discord until so far.
You have to do an Easter egg in the chassis with the Lekker keyboards.
Or insert
Maybe.
Lego switch here.
Yeah.
Oh, so shine through is possible on Hall effect switches? Yes, actually. Wait, let me get the keyboard. I'll be right back. But I can still
Does
hear
that
you.
mean we
Gonna
have
get
now?
I'm monitoring you guys. I can still hear you.
It's now chaos.
Oh,
Now gone to chaos, anarchy.
You
Shut
are the
down the
definition
stream.
of
Alright,
chaos.
we've got a
and
small
anarchy.
window, boys. We've got a small window.
Quick, say what you want about Calder.
I can still hear you.
Got airport.
Calder, more like Balder.
What are you gonna do about it? Close the stream?
I'm more like, I don't know. Actually, I'm really not good at this.
You're just as bad at this as you are at Minecraft.
Oh.
Excuse me. You're the one who always cries every time you die and asks for a recovery
Hey.
of your inventory.
I think T3 is still better at hosting a server than you
I
are.
heard that.
Oh.
Where's the banhammer? Where's the banhammer?
Just ran off. Oh, that's great.
You have to realize I have earphones in. I can just hear you guys the whole time. You know that, right?
What?
Damn it.
You're far away from pressing buttons, though. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's true. Then. No, shit.
He broke the. He's dropped it. He's broke it.
No,
Prototype like
forgot
a
the
switch
cable.
gone.
Prototype Lekker switch broken.
He's dropped it and it's snapped in half.
He's gone again.
Quick, everyone, we can go back to it.
Alright, great.
How many of us will have to storm the Wooting office to take them down and knowing what they're doing?
What
Should we do
Wooting
a
office?
storm Wooting than like they do the
Well,
Area 51?
Well, if Calder activates his dad reflexes, I'm sure he'll win.
Storm Wooting and steal the Lekker prototype. And then use
Col-
it.
Calder can't defend from all of us, so we all attack at once.
Trust me,
That's gonna go so poorly.
the prototype I have here, you don't want it.
Just make sure. Just make sure
I
the
don't
wife's
know.
the way Quinn will steal her.
I don't
Yeah,
know why, but I really don't know why, but anything involving Callum or Cop Vampire seems to have ridiculously bad luck.
No, just when Callum's involved. It's not anything to do with anything else.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
tell that to your server right now.
Callum's
Yeah,
got.
ever
Hang on,
since
no,
I-
Callum's on it. Callum is on it.
Ever since I started, he's had his server for so long, and ever since we started hosting that server on his server, everything just went to shit. Literally.
It's all just Callum. Honestly, I think Callum should pay for a new server.
Maybe uploading, maybe loading 49 chunks with 2 chunk loaders was a terrible idea.
Oh yeah, no, that's a bad idea. I
Yeah,
didn't need you.
he won't listen.
No, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't even use chunk loaders.
We should.
No, you shouldn't. You
No,
really
it's
shouldn't.
fine. I'm not even kidding, right? The server's perfectly fine, and then as soon as T3 logs in, the entire server gets laggy and freezes.
T3,
The problem-
sorry, but you
Are you
can't play
kidding?
Minecraft anymore.
The problem is the problem is the radiation with Nuclear Craft. It works weird in unloaded chunks for some
We
reason.
just.
The problem starts with playing Minecraft.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
How dare you.
It's better than playing
Okay.
Fortnite.
What's the
That's
difference?
true. That's true. Yeah, what's the difference? That's the right comment. Yeah.
Wow.
I think you even have a Fortnite mode in
Minecraft
Minecraft.
Minecraft is for 12-year-olds. Fortnite's for 9-year-olds. What's the
So you're
difference?
10?
Okay, well, anyway, so look, I have a prototype
Back to
here.
not insulting kids.
Wow.
This is a prototype. I have the Lekker Switch keyboard.
Oof, looks nice.
Um,
No, no, no.
But, this obviously for Lekker Edition we have it's totally different colors. This is just a demo.
Make the screen bigger.
Yeah, okay. No, because then you can see all the details.
The lekker details.
You can see what's wrong with it.
No, you can see the camera. And my camera is really shit. So let's see. So you can see this has Lekker switches inside, and the whole switch basically lights up from the LED. And it's not like we were aiming to do more RGB or something. It's just that the transparent casing was better than not having a transparent casing, because if it was a black casing, the lights would not really get through cleanly, and the backlight on your legends and the backlight on the legends kind of suck. And on the Lekker Edition, we really wanted to still have like an RGB glow underneath the keys, but we didn't want to have the RGB effect on the keyboard, being all the legends lighting up. So we thought it was pretty cool when you look at the side of the keyboard, you can see the switches all light up, which I personally like a lot. So yeah, so you can see
That's
there's
purely cosmetic, though.
it's purely cosmetic. Yeah, I mean on the Lekker Edition, you can if you look here, you can see that in between the keys there's some bleed, which is also on the Lekker Edition the case. But if you look on the Flairtech keyboard, there's barely any bleed in between.
Am I like seeing this wrong? Is there more space between the keycap and the plate? Like the height of these switches, is it higher than Flairtech?
No.
It looks it's from the side. When you look at it from the side, I swear to God.
It might be because it's colour.
Yeah, it might
normally
just
it's
be
black.
it might just be because it's lit up. It gives it a weird effect.
I understand what you mean, though, but it shouldn't be the case.
This is when you find out and you drop the whole product line.
It's like, oh fuck!
And there's my bad luck.
Back to the drawing boards. No, it's really because of the lights, I think.
Yeah, it's a weird but nice effect, not gonna lie. At least
Now we need is now
Makes it
putting
look like it's
keycaps
floating.
on a beautiful.
Yes.
Well, do you know what would look really nice with that? I don't think they would. Do you know the keycaps on that? Is it Cooler Master? The really thin ones. Like the really thin ones.
I think I
don't
know which one you're
Oh,
on.
no,
I think
no,
it's
no.
the Cooler Master one.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I
The
think they would look
keycaps,
nice.
right? They have like really
Yeah,
thin
yeah.
keycaps for their low-profile keyboards.
Yeah. I think they would look nice, maybe.
Okay, Apple, calm down.
Oh, Calder, you're ruining the stream.
Cause no, but I would show that. No, I can't show it on this one. No, but that would be the backlight with Lekker switches. Clean this up again. Was there any other question related to Lekker switch? Oh,
Yes,
the
it's a
Lekker.
lifetime.
Sorry, go ahead.
I could. Stats are probably there. I'm just gonna ask this anyway. Is the lifetime the exact same for Vertex switches as Lekker switches?
In theory, Lekker switches should be able to endure. Lekker switches should have a longer lifetime. In theory.
But
And
do
then-
they feel as good?
Well, I don't know. What would be the right answer for that one?
Put one on my desk and I'll tell them.
Barrel has
No,
a good
feel
answer to that.
like feel wise, they are. I mean, it's the same experience with Flairtech where it's very smooth because you literally don't feel any kind of contact because there is no contact metal at all, so it's very smooth. But if I'm honest, it's not as smooth as a Flairtech switch, or at least not yet. But it's not as smooth as a Flairtech switch, and the switch weight is in between a red switch and a blue switch at 65 gram force. So it's kind of like a balance between a black switch and a red switch, which I personally like a lot.
If you press a key halfway down and then start wiggling, do you feel it bounce against that?
There's significantly less wiggle when you press down the key all the way to the bottom.
Okay, that's nice.
But this is Gen 1 switch. We're making a Generation 2 switch of Lekker switch because we wanted to make a couple of changes to the design, because right now it's not really hot swappable. And Generation 2 has like an added design element which should keep the stem even better in place. But I'm not sure yet if it's going to work out or not. And we do that just in case. Okay. Wooting foot pedals? No way. I'm never gonna do that foot pedal controller thing. Though, obviously, it is a very smart thing to do if you want more buttons or actions. Yeah.
You just get a Wii balance board and use button eye to emulate controls.
Oh, that's true.
A Wii balance board, that was great. Good answer.
There was a Kickstarter, maybe 2 years back or a year and a half back from Germany, which had basically like a strap that you could strap around your foot, and it was basically a box of a gyroscope you could strap around your foot, and then based on your movement you could do different actions.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
But I
don't think anything came of it.
I don't think so. Yeah, but they were really. It was this like typical thing where they represent themselves in a very glorious way, like super, like very professional, and we have funding and we're making a really good product and bringing it to the market, and look how well organized we are. But it was that at the same time made it really how's that called? Disingenuous? Is that it? But if you're gonna go get a foot control, you should get the stinky foot or something.
Or get another wooden keyboard and have that under your feet.
You get another wooden keyboard. Bind all your keys to a single action, or just divide it in two.
Or use your toes to type.
If you can do that, I think you can earn a different award.
Hang on, I gotta pause real quick.
Someone said in the Wooting keyboard chat, Wooting 3 confirmed question mark.
Okay, I think we're reaching an end of the stream. Decision made. Let's see, dark. Oh, I do have to add one more thing is about the RGB stuff and Lekker switch. RGB does matter, but being able to see the key in the dark matters a lot, which shine through allows. That is not necessarily 100% true, because RGB, if you have a keyboard that supports shine through, when RGB is not on, you will it will always be terrible. Like, it will never be, you can never clearly read the legends unless you turn on the backlight. And that's because the legends on the keycap are transparent or milky, and they fade away in the keycap, and they're not clear at all unless backlight is on. But if you have keycaps with a really clear contrast of legend and keycap, you can still see very, very clear in the dark. You really don't need to have LED backlit keys unless you're in your bed on a laptop with literally no other source of light with literally no other source of light.
What about the display?
That's my point. Oh, well, okay, from the laptop, the display then, right? Because On
I mean, let's be
for-
honest here. People that use white theme are probably going to be able to see their clears with their keys with or without the backlight.
if they're going to use what?
White theme,
What white theme?
white theme, light theme, anything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A white screen, basically. A blinding white.
Yeah. No, I mean, in general, if you have your gaming setup, your main screen is already going to emit enough light to see your keyboard keys. But it's not going to be the case if you have backlight keys, because then it will be too dark to see the backlight keys unless you turn on the backlight. You have good contrast keys, you can still see it in the dark. And that
Then there is one thing that does make backlight nicer, is when you have a profile to like show which keys are enabled on that profile. You can like make them completely dark.
That is true. Yeah, that is something that you can only do with backlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that the keyboard can emulate a controller, but it feels like a workaround to me. But I realize that PC gaming isn't supposed to work out of the box. Yes, so this is why we really want to focus a little bit more on other analog input functions than the whole controller stuff. But the controller stuff just makes it so much easier to explain. And a lot of people are like, whoa, I've had this idea for like 10 years. Why wasn't it on the market? Oh, it should have been there already. Well, it needs a massive, there's like a massive road to adoption before it's really there. That's why. It's easier to work around the controller than have a game work with mechanics. Okay, in any case. So we have to shut down the stream because we're at almost 2 hours now, which is already too long.
Like an hour on each bloody section.
You're having fun.
I'm having fun, yeah. I'm not having any fun. Yeah, that's true. But it also takes away, oh my god, 10 minutes for 6. I should be working, that's also why. Okay.
Just as a side thing, I hope that for the stream, when people make good questions, you write them down and archive them to upload later, so that if more people have the same questions, they can find it on the, I don't know, what is it called? The Woo forums or something? The Woot Hub?
Woopedia.
We'll leave it to the person in charge of timestamping.
Basically.
Where's Eric?
Yeah, you won't see Eric anywhere if he has to do timestamping. Okay, so no, but that's what Woopedia asked for. That's what Woopedia asked for. So then you can do it. I feel like
Let's
it's
work for Eric.
Eric in voice chat, but muted. Oh yeah, he's working on the video of the Lekker Edition. It's gonna be cool. Can't wait. Can't wait to share. Okay, let's end the stream. Thank you guys.
Maybe 4K.
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't know actually. No.
Eric, 4K, you're fired.
So guys, thank you for joining the live stream voice chat. And then chat, thank you for joining the live stream. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks again with a live stream. And we'll talk to you guys then.
And hopefully the Wootabase will be in full.
The Wootabase will be available that time. And hopefully the Woopedia will be actively used. Alright. Everybody want to say goodbye?
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo? Yeah.
Bye bye.
There we go.
See ya.
Riddles.